Hey friends, it's Judy Clock, your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you from Middletown, Virginia. It is Thursday, July 3rd, so happy pre-4th of July, everyone. I hope you have a great holiday weekend and get to spend it doing things that you enjoy. But I'm coming to you today for a quick little tutorial featuring 3 fun folds that I really like to do. I like fun folds because they are easy, they're impressive, and people think that you spend hours doing them when they're really very, very simple. So here's our first one that we're going to do, which is kind of like a flip flap, like a fold within a fold, and you've got just a little bit of room to write, a little bit of a thank you note. And this is our new Painterly Pears Suite. This just came online. It's an online exclusive. It came on July 1st. I love this product suite. In fact, I'm going to be featuring it in my August workshop. Next, we have here, this is my adhesive came undone. This is just, you got 2 little pieces of designer series paper, 2 little triangles to create a fun little card. I've added the ribbon. All the ones I've seen online didn't have the ribbon, but I thought I wanted to have that ribbon to kind of help keep it closed. So I added the ribbon, and it's very easy to do. So we're going to do that one. And then we've got our envelope fold card. And this again is another pretty fold. And it opens up and you have a lovely writing surface inside. So I hope that you enjoy these fun folds. I like them because I really think they showcase some of this beautiful Perfectly Pears designer series paper. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to do this one first, our double pointed one first. So I've got here a piece of our Secret C, and this is just on 1/4 of a sheet. So this is 5.5 by 4.25. And all of these measurements will be on the corresponding blog post, which I will link down below in the description. And we've got a piece of our basic white here. This is 4 by 5.25. I had one piece of designer series paper that measured 4 inches by 6 inches. And I scored it at 1 inch from either end. And the reason why it goes this way, sorry about that. And the reason why I did that was because I wanted to make sure that I had a continuous design, that the design would flow. So I cut a piece 4 by 6, scored it at 1 inch and at 5 inches, and then cut it in half at 3 inches. Okay, and then I cut a piece of our cloud cover with the Everyday Arches dies. And I've just got a couple of little pieces here. These are some of those like accent dies that come in the die set. And I just backed these with our adhesive sheet. This way I don't have to muck with that liquid glue. But let's go ahead and get started on our card. So we have here our 2 pieces of designer series paper. Again, it was one continuous sheet. I cut it in half and I scored, before I cut it, I scored it at 1 inch from each end. So it was scored at 1 inch and at 5 inches. Then I'm going to burnish those 1 inch fold lines. And I did that so my pattern would all run in one direction. Not that you're going to be able to see it, but I'll know that it's all running in one direction. So then I took it on the folded, the 3 inch, this is a 3 inch section. I took the 2 inch section and I folded those points in. Okay, make sure you burnish them well. Okay, make sure we're going to do that. Make sure we got this burnished well. This is really got to have a lot of good, very crisp folds. So now I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue and I'm going to adhere these corners to the inside, creating that point. That's going to be one of the points on our card. Okay, so we're just going to go add some liquid glue. Stick that over, do some same over here. Add that over. Okay. And then we're going to do the same on this one. We're going to take and we're going to bring that point to the center on the large 2 inch section. Do the same thing on the other side. Oops, can't even get it. Same thing on the other side. And you see, I didn't really get a good point there. I wasn't really paying attention. There we go. That's better. Okay, I got to bring this one in just a little bit more. There we go. There we go. Really burnish those so they're nice and crisp. Okay, now I've got my two pears and they go like this. That is how they go. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to glue these to the back of this piece of basic white. Oh, I got to glue these down first. You guys didn't remind me. All right, got that down. Got this one down. All right. All right, now I'm going to go here and put this glue there, and we're going to attach our basic white to it. I like using the liquid glue for this. It gives me a little bit of extra time to get that piece right where I want it. Okay, I had a little bit of glue there. Of course, got our trusty baby wipes on the desk. Keep those handy. You never know when they're going to come in handy. And I just got to turn off my phone so it doesn't buzz. I forgot to do that too. All right, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add this piece to the bottom part of our card. Okay. And again, just slide that piece of basic white right in. Make sure it's even. Okay. All right. This one I'm going to trim. It's a little bit long. It's hanging out just a little bit. So I am going to go ahead and just trim that up just a skosh. There we go. Now no one will ever know. And there we have our top and bottom for our card. Then our little arch will sit right in there. Now before we glue this down to our card base, let's add our ribbon. So we have this beautiful green and gold shimmer ribbon. It's mossy meadow and gold. It's such a pretty ribbon. And I'm going to cut two pieces. I'm going to cut one piece about 10 inches. And if you don't know, your grid paper has a ruler at the bottom and the top. And the other piece I'm going to cut to about 6 inches. Okay. 6 and 8 inches for the bottom piece. Okay. Now, going to take and I'm going to add some adhesive to the top and bottom. Let me just close that up for a minute. To the top and bottom. And I'm going to add, make sure I got this. This is my bottom. I'm going to add the shorter piece to the bottom and try to center it on there. And I'm going to add my longer piece to the top. And now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to add some glue to the back of this piece. And we are going to add it to our secret C. All right, so we've kind of got our card base. It's a little bit crooked. There we go. Kind of got our card base done. Now let's work on our, and this is going to go right over that piece. We're going to secure it right on each side. But we need to add some elements to that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to stamp one of the larger pears. And I'm going to stamp the pear outline. I'm going to move this out of the way for now. I'm going to stamp our pear outline in our, what is that? That is Old Olive. Okay. And I'm going to stamp the image in Old Olive, but I'm going to stamp off. And the reason why I'm stamping off is because I want a lighter Old Olive. I'm going to stamp that. Okay, so now we've got a little bit of green on our pear. Then I'm going to come in with our darling duckling, and I'm going to stamp right over that green to kind of give me that two-toned look that pears sometimes have. Just going to ink it up with our darling duckling. And again, I'm going to stamp it right over that green. Okay, see how we're getting that tone now? I don't know about you, but sometimes my pears have a little bit of red in them. So I have here, I put a dauber and I put a little tiny bit of petal pink on there. Just a bit, because I don't want too much. Okay, I'm going to kind of come over here and I'm just going to kind of add some petal pink to our pear too. Okay, just to kind of give it another little touch. So there we go. There is our pear. And we need to stamp some leaves. So I'm going to use some early espresso to stamp the leaf and the stem, the outline image. But I'm going to stamp that off because I don't want my early espresso to be too dark. I'm going to stamp that on my paper. Then I'm going to come in again with my old olive, and we're going to stamp that full strength. So I've got like the fill-in image here. And we're just going to stamp that right over our outline image full strength. Go. So there we have our two images that we're going to need. Oh, and you know what? Let's stamp a little hello. While we have this out, let's stamp our hello. I have it out somewhere on a little piece of cardstock, and we're going to cut that out too. There we go. Looks like I had something on there. Let's flip that over. Paper has two sides. I had something on my stamp and I was showing up. All right. Now, we're going to use the matching dies to die cut out our pear and our leaves. Take that out. And they have this little tiny label shape. We're going to use that for our hello. So let me bring in my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss, because these will all fit on the mini. Don't you just love it when everything will fit on the mini? I do. Anybody got big plans for the weekend? We are not doing really anything. We're just going to spend a nice quiet weekend at home. So I'm kind of excited about that. All right, I'm going to put my pears and my leaves. I was hoping we could fit the hello on here, but I'm not sure. We'll see. Maybe we can do everything in one pass. I'm going to add a little bit of our, got some 3M tape here. And I'm going to use that to kind of hold my die in place because there is no magnetic sheet for this. So I like to use that little, I probably could have just done the hello on this piece, right? But I was not thinking. I was thinking this is a big piece. I can do more leaves on this later. Okay, got that. And I think we can fit the hello down here. So I think we'll make it. Get the hello. There we go. There we go. There we go. Got the hello, and then we'll be ready. Put our second clear plate on top, and we are ready to run this through. Maybe. Doesn't want to go. Come on. There we go. Just needed a little encouragement to get started. There we go. All right. Let's see what our pieces are. We've got our pear. We've got our leaves. I'm going to leave those right over there because we're going to use those again. And we've got our hello. So we are good to go. Let's finish up our card. I'm going to use a little glue dot, little tiny glue dot, to add my leaves to my pear. There we go, just like that. Okay, and then we're going to put these on with dimensionals. But before we do that, I wanted to add a little bit of some dots. We have this little accent stamp here, and I'm just going to use our Darling Duckling, and I'm just going to kind of add some spots. That should be good. Now we can add our pear, and we're going to add these. So let's add these first. These, don't worry if there's still little pieces, like the little centers are still in some of the flowers. When you use the, take off the adhesive sheet, those pieces will come off so they don't stick. So we're good. Okay, got this one. All right. That one, of course, that one didn't come out. That one decided to stay in, but we got it. There we go. Now let's get some dimensionals. And we're just going to put our pear right on our everyday arch. I can't believe I still have that ink pad open. I'm sure something will drop in it and I will get ink all over the place. Who else has done that? Right, let me just close this up. I'm tempting fate by leaving that open on the desk. And we're going to add our hello. I'm going to add that right on top of our pear, and I'm going to add a little bit of our liquid glue. Put our little hello there. And now we're ready to finish our card. So make sure that when you go to put this on, you have the ribbon coming down, because we're going to put this right over it. So I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue on either side of the ribbon, because I don't want my ribbon to get caught. And only glue this to one side, to one triangle. You don't want to glue it to both. Okay. Hold that just down for just a couple of seconds to make sure it's going to stick in place. There we go. Let's go ahead and tie our ribbon. You know my trick. I tie it upside down. So hopefully then the tails will go in the direction I want them to go. Oh no. My hello got messed up. There we go. We fixed it. We can fix it. Okay. This is always the hardest part of the demo, is tying the ribbon and getting the ribbon nice. All right, that looks good. I'm not gonna mess with it too much. I had a scissor here somewhere. Okay, just trim up these ends. And let's add some of these beautiful sparkle gems. These are also part of the suite. These are the low profile sparkle dots, and they add just the right touch of color. Put one there. Put a small one there. Oops, come on. And then we'll put maybe one more over here. Uh-oh. That did not, I don't know where it went. Oh no, where did it go? It got lost. Well, we'll find it eventually. Oh, there it is. It's on my finger. I knew we'd find it. I could use my pick tool, but I have to get a putty refill. There is our first fun fold card. What do you think of this one? Do you like it? Is this one that you would make? Let me know. Isn't that a pretty stamp set though? Gosh, I love this one. We had one in the last year's annual catalog that I kept looking at it and I kept thinking, I really want that pear set, but I never got it. So when they came out with this whole product suite, I'm like, I'm getting it this time. And I'm so happy that I did. All right, next let's work on our envelope card. And again, this is another really fairly easy card. So we have here a piece of our cloud cover that is, again, 1/4 of a sheet. So it's 5.5 by 4.25. I have here a piece of our Darling Duckling that I cut down to 5.25 by 8, and I've scored it at 4. That's going to sit there, but before we do that, we're going to have to add our envelope piece. Then I cut a piece. This is our two-tone cardstock. This is again, Darling Duckling, that's the dark side. That is the light side. It's got that beautiful white core. So I thought that would look kind of pretty. I used the light side on my sample. I don't know, I might do the dark side. We'll see. I have a piece of basic white for the inside that is 5 by 3 3/4. This piece is also 5 by 3 3/4. And then we have here a piece of designer series paper that is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So what we need to do is we need to fold this on the diagonal to create that envelope look. So make sure you have your edges even, right? And again, you want that nice crisp fold line. So use your bone folder. And then we're going to add this to the back of our Darling Duckling cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and again, I'm going to use my liquid glue because that gives me a little bit of extra time to get this in place. And I'm just going to stick it right. And as you can see, I managed to get glue on my upper flap again. I don't know why I do that. Okay. But there we have our card, and that is going to go on our base. So we're going to put that aside for now. Let's do a little stamping on the inside. We have these really pretty flowers. It's a trio of flowers, and I'm just going to stamp them in some petal pink in the corner. And then we had this one stamp, and I was looking at it. It took me forever to figure out these are the centers for the flowers. I was looking at it and looking at it. It's got like 3 little, I guess like the stamens and everything else are the flowers. But when I was first looking at it, I'm like, what is that? And it took me a while to figure out how it goes. But I think it goes like this. So there we go. So those are our pretty little flowers. Isn't that cute? So it's just like with the Jar of Joy, it took me forever to figure out how to position the scarf correctly on the snowman because it stamps the scarf and it also stamps the line, the brim on the hat, like the hat band. So it was very confusing when I first saw it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, let's go ahead and add this to our card back, our quarter of a sheet. And again, remember, I'm just going to use some liquid glue to give me a little bit of extra time to wiggle this down in place. Let me put a little bit more in the corners. This last time I didn't have enough in my corners. Okay. Go. That down. And we're just going to go ahead and add that. Okay. All right. There we go. Now I'm going to add this. Now this I've embossed with the mini corrugated embossing folder. And I want to add some of that pretty ribbon right around here. So I'm going to carefully, very carefully, try to add some adhesive to the back so I can stick the ribbon on it. If I can find where I put the ribbon. I don't know where I put the ribbon. I literally just had it, and now it has decided to go for a walk. Here we go. Anybody else have those little craft room gremlins that come in and move supplies that you literally just had? Okay, so I'm going to go and wrap it and stick it. Then we're going to trim it. And I do that because you don't really need ribbon going all the way around it because you're not going to see it. So why waste it, especially when the ribbon is so pretty like this one is. So again, using that liquid glue, mostly because once it's been embossed, I find the Stampin' Seal kind of rips the embossed cardstock. So you always use liquid glue when I've embossed a piece of cardstock. All right, we're going to add that. All right, now let's work on our die cut elements. So we're going to stamp. I have the basic right here. We're going to stamp our pears. Again, I'm going to stamp the outline in our old olive. again, which I just had. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to stamp it, the outline in the old olive. Okay. Then we're going to stamp the fill in old olive, but stamped off old olive. Okay, so I'm going to really make that a very light green. Pardon my head while I try to line these up. Okay, see? I'm going to need that again, though, so I'm just going to move that over there. I am going to now stamp it again in our Darling Duckling. This color is growing on me. I wasn't really sure about it at first, but it's I'm digging it more as I use it more. I'm really liking it. Okay, again, pardon my head. All right, not a little bit off, but that's okay. And then remember I said we had this little one. Well, I wanted some of that petal pink on there again, just because why not? So I thought, ooh, I'll use those dots and I'll just kind of add some petal pink dots, stamp it off a little bit. I don't want that dark. And just kind of add some dots on my pears. Okay. Giving my pears a little bit of freckles. Now, I didn't like the fact that we had no fill-in for the leaves. I'm like, I don't want those to be just white. So what I did was I put like a reservoir of ink in my cover. And I'm going to take a blender pen, clean it off. Make sure you always start with a clean tip. And I'm just going to lightly add some color with my blender pen. Okay. Again, I don't want too dark, so I'm just going to kind of come in there. Okay, and the more you use it, the lighter the color will get. If it gets too light, just re-ink it again. Okay, I'm going to ink it just a little bit. I'm going to do my stems too. I didn't like the white look, so I wanted to add a little bit of color to the leaves. So that was how I chose to do it. Clean off that tip again, and it's ready for the next time. All right, that's that. Now we're going to stamp some of those flowers again in our petal pink because we're going to add some of these. I don't know if I can get all of them on here. I only have the one die for this, so we're going to have to do that one twice. I should have pre-done some of these, but I wasn't really thinking. All of my plans for today got sort of messed up. We have a leak in our pool. The liner has a leak. So unbeknownst to me, the guy was coming today to check it and to fix it if possible. Well, that I wasn't planning on that. So it just kind of threw my whole day into just a whirlwind because I'm like, oh, well, I wasn't planning on that. So everything kind of got pushed back and you know the deal. Anyway, I'm here. I'm getting it done. I'm hoping that it's picking up both cameras because if this ghosts me again, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know, cry. All right, I'm going to die cut these with, again, the matching dies. We've got the pears. We've got the... And what I did want to do, I forgot. I have to do my sentiment. See, that's what I'm saying. My day has just been shot. And I'm trying to get the video done. And I'm trying to, thinking of all the other things. I have to get up to the pharmacy to pick up my husband's prescription because they're not open tomorrow. So I'm like, I have a lot to do. And I wasn't really planning. Right now, my husband took my car because he had to go for physical therapy, and the parking lot is really tiny. And in the afternoon, there's like no spots for his big truck. So I can't even go to the pharmacy till he gets home. Got to pick up some groceries. So it's going to be one of those days when just a million things, go wrong. But, these are good problems to have. So I could take his truck, but I don't like driving that big truck. So I'll just patiently wait and go when he comes home. All right, we're going to cut all of these elements. Got to cut one more of the flowers. Sometimes that's what I hate. Sometimes when there's only one die and you want to make multiples of the image, so you got to do things twice, but that's okay. That's not a big deal. We know how to do it. And like I said, had I really been thinking clearly and had I had really had time to come down and prep, a lot of this would have been, done ahead of time. So I would only cut one, but you guys are getting the full treatment today. Everything. I have all the dogs down here with me. Everybody's chilling today. So it's a good day. All right. All right. One more thing that we have to do. We have to stamp our congratulations and die cut that. I keep moving where I'm putting things. I keep putting them on my left, on my right. I'm like, where did I put that now? So let's stamp our congratulations. So we do have to die cut this also. And there is another die in there. Like we had that little tiny label die for hello. We have a larger one for congratulations. And we will just bring this back up and get this done. And then I promise you, we'll be ready to finish putting this card together. So thank you for bearing with me and putting up with my craziness today. I do appreciate that you are still here, still watching, still listening, and that you were, just bearing with me and understand that sometimes life happens. And even though you plan to do things, it doesn't always work out. What do they say? Humans make plans and God laughs. Well, that was me today. He was laughing for sure because he's like, oh, you think you're going to get everything done on time and get back and all that? No, that's not going to happen today. Some days just test your patience more than others, but it's all good, right? It's all good. Okay, here we go. Now we want to make sure that we position the pears so that they hold that down. So I'm just going to put some dimensionals on the bottoms of my pears, like one on each pear. What do you know? 2 came out. Perfect. All right. I love this envelope card. It's such a fun card, and people think that you really fussed with it, but you really didn't. All right, now I don't think I have any small dimensionals, but I do have this. Okay, I'm just going to use the edge piece here. We're going to stick that right on the back of our congratulations. And we are going to stick that right there. And then I'm going to add the flowers, just really anywhere. There's 1, 2. I don't know if I can get 2 on there. I think this might call for a little piece. You gotta love these edge pieces or these odd shaped pieces that just seem to fit in the right spaces when you need them. Okay. If anybody is in the Winchester, Frederick County area, go see Singing in the Rain at the Shenandoah University. The Shenandoah Summer Music Theater is putting it on, and it is fabulous. I went last weekend, and it was such a great show. Really enjoyed it. Okay, we're going to put that there. Now, let's finish it up with some gems. Let's use the garden green ones or the old olive ones since we have so much yellow on there already. There. Smaller one. Nope. It's just not coming up today for me. I'm having a hard time with these gems. One there. One more big one. There we go. And that is our second card. What do you think of this? Is this a design that you would make? I love this. I just love this envelope. fun fold. Whoops, get there. You can also tuck it. I guess tuck it behind the pears and the ribbon. So it worked out. Ribbon's doing double duty. So there is our second card. All right, and lastly, we're going to use like our, I call it a flip flap, a fun double fold. So I've got here, this is 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, and I've scored it at 3 inches so that you have a 3 inch piece and a 5 1/2 inch piece. Piece of basic, piece of the designer series paper. Now this was, I cut one length of paper. It was 4 inches by 12. And again, depending upon which way your design is going, is how you cut your paper. So make sure that you remember if you need it in a landscape cut or a portrait cut, vertical versus horizontal, because it will make a difference. So then I cut this to 4 by 5 1/4. This was 4 by 2 3/4, and then I had enough to do another piece that was 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. So this was all just from one 4 by 12 inch piece of designer series paper. And then I have a little piece left over that we're going to put on the inside. So let's go ahead and start putting this one together, since this was so fun. And I just used, the one side and then the back side. So this was really a lot of fun to make. And I hope I have all my other little pieces. We'll see. Okay, see, I can already tell this is not where I want it. Too far down. Ah, I should have used liquid glue. That's why you use the liquid glue. All right. All right, got that. That's going to go on here on the front. This is going to go on the front of this piece. Oh, there are my other pieces. Yay. I didn't lose them. Okay. All right, now I had this little strip left over, so I thought, well, why not use it and decorate the inside? So I'm just going to add some liquid glue to this little strip, and it's a little bit longer. I'll just trim it off. No biggie. Okay, this is starting to get clogged up. Okay, go. And why not? If you got these little strips, use them. Decorate the inside of your cards with them. It's a great way to use up those little tiny strips and add a little bit more interest to your cards. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and put that on the inside of our little piece. Okay. Right. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add this to like what would normally be the inside of the card. And we learned our lessons. We're going to use multi-purpose liquid glue right now. And I realize I'm going a little bit longer than I normally do, but 3 fun folds is a lot. But I love fun folds. I just love them. I think for Stampalooza, Patty is going to teach fun folds. So I'm doing cards with movement. So I'm excited about that. All right, so there we go. We have that. Now we need to do our focal point, which is going to be our pear. I've also got here a couple of, these are like accent die pieces that come in. You've already seen the little flowers. We've also got like this crosshatch design. So I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to put our big pear there. I'm just going to go ahead and stick this right there for now. Just because I know it's going to go on it. And it really doesn't matter where this goes. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that on the front. Now, as I pull off the adhesive sheets, God love these adhesive sheets. See how those extra pieces really kind of do just pull out? Now, there's some that didn't, but that's okay. They'll come out. Got them hanging. Take them off. Okay. So now those are off. Maybe. There we go. I'm just going to kind of stick that there. And I'm going to go ahead and add our flowers and just kind of stick these here. But for little accent pieces like this, adhesive sheets really are a must. You've got to have the adhesive sheets so that you can put them on easily and not worry about getting glue all over your projects. Here we go. I was going to say, I thought I had a piece of basic white. Oh, I can definitely do the other leaves from here. Same thing. We're going to do the leaves just like we did last time. We'll stamp those in our early espresso. We're going to stamp it off. We're going to do like the leaf outline. Stamp that off. Okay, and then we're going to fill it in with our garden green. Okay, our garden green. Okay. And then we need to do our big pear again. Just reaching over here to grab a piece of. Okay, I need to cut this in half. And of course, I moved over my chair that doesn't really roll well because it was a little bit higher than the other one. All right, going to stamp my outline in our old olive. And I'm going to stamp my fill-in. Again, old olive, but we're going to stamp it off. Okay. Stamp the old olive. Okay, get that nice light green. I'm going to add some Darling Duckling. Let me clean up my stamp again. Okay. Stamp the Darling Duckling right over the old olive. Okay, and you can see how we're getting that beautiful variegated look. And again, we had our little dauber. Somewhere I had my little dauber, and I think I have enough pink on there. I'm just going to go ahead and, again, add some petal pink just to kind of get those little blushes on there. Okay, there we go. And that is all I'm going to do for the stamping. I do want to stamp my sentiment though. And I'm going to stamp it this time on the same sheet. I learned from last time. I remember some things, see? Might take me a while, but eventually I remember. And we're going to stamp our thank you. So I'm just going to stamp that just like that. All right. We are ready to do some die cutting. Bringing in a little stamp and cut and emboss machine or mini. Closing up my ink because I will make a mess. All right. Bringing in my plates. All right. I'm going to add I'm going to do this one first because this one I can move really far up on the plate so I can fit everything in one pass because that's what we want to do. So we're going a little long today, but hopefully, like I said, hopefully it's okay because we're making really 3 great cards and we don't want to rush our cards, especially when they're doing fun folds because they are just so fun. And all the measurements, like I said, all the measurements will be on the corresponding blog post. And I'll drop the link in the description below. So if you want to make these for yourself, you will be able to go to the blog post and get all the measurements along with the supply list. Like I said, if you really like this stamp set, I'll be opening my August workshop over the weekend. So look for that and you can come virtually. I do it virtual, or you can come in person if you're local to the area. So, and it's always a lot of fun, and you'll make 8 cards. We do 2 each of 4 designs. So, all right. Oh, this is going to go through. Oh, it did. Okay. There we go. All right. Whew. Put these over there for now. Okay, let us finish up our last card. Pulling this back in, I'm going to again, add just a drop of glue here. A drop of glue here. I'm going to add my pears. Okay. I think I put my leaves on upside down in the other one. No. Oh well. It's fine. No one will ever know. All right, let's add our dimensionals. Okay, by the end of this video, this desk always looks like a disaster area. There's dimensional covers everywhere. There's stamps, everything all over the place. It's all right. I'll be down after dinner to come down here and tidy up. The other day when we had no internet, I was joking with my friend. I called her and I said, yeah, we have no internet. We don't know when it's coming back up. I said, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to clean my house. And we laughed because, crafting before cleaning for sure. And I want my thank you. So now this is a little tricky because part of it will be on my pear. So that I'm going to put on adhesive and part will be off. So I'm going to have to put that on dimensionals because you don't want it to sag. So let me come here. I need an edge piece because it's skinny. So I'm just going to see if you can just rip it off if you have to. And then I'm going to add a little tiny bit of glue here. That's when you're putting on something that's going to be hanging off a piece that has been raised up with dimensionals. You always want to make sure that whatever part is hanging off also has dimensionals on them. So there we have that. Let's add some of those pretty yellow gems. I'm going to do the yellow gems this time because we're going to put them right here on the green. How pretty does that look? Add one more little one. Put that up there. And that is card number 3. So those are our 3 cards today. I hope that you enjoyed them. I hope that you will try these fun folds. They really are impressive. And despite the fact that I seemed like I didn't know what I was doing, they're really not that hard to make. So I hope you'll give them a try. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial, and I'll be back next week. We're going to talk about some coloring techniques. See you then. Bye.